So this is my old dinky compressor. It lasted me a really long time. I bought it used a long time ago for $100, and it was actually made in the USA, Campbell Hosfield, and yeah, made in the USA. Now I got this new beast, and it's an 80-gallon, 2-stage. Should give me all the air I ever need ever. And it's made by, even though it says Kobalt on it, made by the same company, Campbell and Hosfield. Unfortunately, they're made in China now. So, it's sad. Well, we'll see how it does. All right, so I just removed all this pegboard so I have access so I could drill some holes through the studs there so I can put another breaker, have a new circuit, run my 6-gauge 220 through here. I'm gonna drill a hole through the wall and put a box right there and hardwire this into it. I'm not going to use a plug-in and outlet, but I'll just have the box for a disconnect if I ever want to move it. And eventually I will build a dog house around here just to kind of make it weatherproof and, most importantly, more soundproof. By the way, the reason this thing seized is I had it for years, like I said, and I used it to fill up a secondary tank, which was 60 gallons, a lot. So this thing really literally was used as like a workhorse. It just kept going, but eventually it did die. If I plug it in right now, it starts and it goes, but the bearings just started to go on. It made a lot of noise, and now what happens is it's popping my breaker. So it's seized up. Bearings are pretty bad, not completely seized, but they're rebuildable. It's just not worth it for what it is. All right, back to, I gotta wire up my compressor and then back to working on the trailer. People say Ryobi drills are junk. I gotta say, I've had this thing for, I don't know, 15 years. I've dropped it off 3-story roofs and it was fine. I let my friend use it, dropped it off a ladder once, hit concrete, I lost reverse. I was able to take it apart and fix reverse. Then I lent it to a friend. He was using it as a hammer drill to drill through concrete. It's not a hammer drill, it's just a regular drill, but he was using it to drill through concrete with masonry bits. And he was pushing really hard, and he snapped this off. And I used a plastic welder, and I welded everything back in with these metal pins, and I got it to work for another, I don't know, 6 months or something. And then my friend used it, he pushed too hard on something, and he snapped it. So then I plastic welded it again. I finally think it's time to have this thing be let go of. It's served me well, but bye-bye Ryobi drill. You've been good. Rest in peace. I liked that drill because it had a high RPM and had enough torque, and it had a 1/2-inch chuck. So I replaced it with a new one, another 1/2-inch chuck. So hopefully this one doesn't seem to have as many RPMs, but this one's actually a combination hammer drill and drill. So cordless, not bad. I own a hammer drill, but now I own a cordless one. And what I'm doing is I have this 1-220 outlet right here that I share between my welders with this extension cord I made and the car lift. So if I want to weld, I unplug the car lift and I weld. So I took down the pegboard. Here it is. Refractualism's awesome graffiti there. So what I'm doing now is I'm drilling holes through all of these bays so I could run some Romex. So I got some 10-3 and some leftover 6-3 from one of my a hot tub thing I had some extra wire from that. So I'm gonna run 2 new circuits. I'm gonna put an outlet right there for the car lift, and then I'm gonna run another circuit. I'm gonna use the 40 amp for the car lift. I don't think it's necessary, but I have the breaker. And I'm gonna run a 30 amp. I'm gonna run another circuit, more wires going across here. And then I'm gonna drill a hole through this outside to hook up the new compressor, which is a beast. Right, so panel's all done. Put this 40 amp here for the car lift. I was gonna get 2 30s, but Home Depot was out of 30s, so I just bought a 40. I don't think it'll be a big deal. I'm using 6-gauge wires, so it can handle a lot of current. Very thick stuff. And here's the new outlet for the car lift. And here's the wire that's gonna be for the air compressor. I just gotta run it up here and outside. I might put a switch somewhere first. I'm not sure. Okay, I got my wall back up. There's my welding outlet. I just gotta put the cover plate on it. Yeah, so got the graffiti wall back up, pegboard, so now I can hang all my wrenches and everything, get all that mess off my couches, put my lights back up. I relocated the Nest thermostat here, and what I did with that 220 plug for, I was gonna put a switch here, but I thought it was awkward to reach in here, so what I did with that is I just drilled a hole, ran it outside to where the compressor is gonna be, and I'm gonna drill a hole here and add a switch and run the wires back out to the compressor. Okay, so I just wired it directly to the air compressor for now. I'll need to get like 2 more feet of wire to make the switch here, which I will do eventually. I know it's silly because there's a switch right there on the air compressor. Right now it's running, doing the break-in, and it's really quiet. I could hardly hear it in here. Even outside, it's not too loud. Probably be a little different on camera, but yeah, so I know it's silly because there's a switch right there, but in the wintertime when I'm in a hurry and I want air, I don't want to have to go outside in the cold and just switch it. So I'll just put a switch here that I can just smack and it'll turn on air. Okay, so my timer is now done. I set the timer for a half an hour. You let it run with everything open just to kind of get everything oiled up and good. My oil level's good. I did add a touch, it's starting to snow. I did add a little touch of oil to it just because when I transported it, you're supposed to transport them upright, but I only had my SUV, so I laid it down and a little bit of oil spilled out of this breather. Also, when I first started it up, I noticed oil was coming out of here. The O-ring had was a little loose and squishing, so I replaced the O-ring, and now it seems to be pretty good. Doesn't appear to have any leaks anyway, so that's working. So now, yeah, I ran it for a half an hour. Everything's good, and it's time for me to do the plumbing. So I put this 90 on it just because I didn't want it sticking out too far. Now I was gonna build a little enclosure for it, but I always tend to end up building things and then making them bigger anyway. So I'm actually thinking about getting rid of this tree and just adding an overhang and walling it off and just making a big enclosure in here. It'll give me extra storage. Maybe I'll even run another 220 outlet out here and put some lights, and this will be my little welding shop. Not a bad idea. So I think that's what I'm gonna end up doing. That's more of a springtime project. So I'll leave this out for the next couple months. Maybe I'll put some kind of cover over it, or just build a temporary little overhang just to keep it out of the weather somewhat. But yeah, it'll expand my shop. I'll be able to clean up my garage a little bit, clean up my yard. Even just keeping a lawnmower and a snowblower in here would be good. So extra storage, and that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so I have this all Teflon taped up and put together, and now I'm gonna run it. I'll time how long it takes to fill up for the first time, and I'll check for leaks. All right, so it took 8 minutes and 55 seconds exactly to fill up until it turned off here. That's the pressure relief valve. The first time I did it, it went off by itself. I ended up oiling it up a little bit and just kind of pushing it in and out to get any machined dust from in there out. But it's working fine now, and that concludes this video. I'm happy I finally got a good air compressor. And I think I might actually do a review of my garage, and I have some pictures from the build process. It was actually quite a thing. So let me know if you guys want to see that. If you're interested in seeing a review of the garage and the car lift and whatnot and how it was built, leave some comments below, and I'll be happy to oblige. All right, see you next time, guys. Thanks for tuning in. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate the support. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below, and stay tuned for more videos coming shortly. I try to release one every week. Thanks.